Hey guys, welcome back to my video series on setting up a Chromebook for web development. This is a long overdue video, but hopefully the videos will start coming out a little faster. The next step in the video is really setting up Linux on the Chromebook. So we're going to kind of walk through that process. We're going to install VS Code and kind of show you how Linux on a Chromebook works. So the first thing we do is just hop into settings. In settings on the left nav, you can either type Linux up top here, or you can just look to the left nav. In either case, it's going to bring up Linux beta. Let's just click turn that on. If you don't see that, unfortunately, you won't be able to run Linux on your Chromebook. So we're going to go to the next step. It's going to ask for a default username. You can use the default disk size. They finally made that the correct size. Used to be 5 gigs, which was too small, and you'd run out of space almost instantly, in my opinion. But 7.5 gigs should be fine unless you're going to do a bunch on it. You can always make it bigger later as well using some commands. So, just a minute ago, it said installing Linux and it said starting up the virtual machine, and now it says starting up Linux container. The way Linux works on Chrome OS is Chrome is built on Linux, but then Linux is now creating, or the Chrome OS is creating a Linux virtual machine, which then runs a Linux container. And the Linux container name will by default be called Penguin. Anything run in the Penguin container will be, if it has an icon for the app, will be exposed in your kind of quick find or your app drawer here. So we'll see that all in a minute when we install VS Code. But in any case, just know that, again, the Chrome OS is starting a virtual machine, allocating resources like a specific amount of RAM and some CPU cycles to the Linux virtual machine, which then runs a Linux container, again called Penguin. So we can see we're inside of Penguin here. To prove we're kind of in a Linux version is I'm going to cd to the top directory, and if you're familiar with Linux, I'll list them. We have the bin, boot, dev, Etsy, home, all this stuff, all these directories. I'm going to cd back into home/chid capra, which is the same as cd tilde. So we're back here. This basically we're running Linux. We have the virtual machine all set up. Let's install VS Code. We can just go to VS Code download. I'll just type that in. Should be the first link here. So we're running Chrome OS, but we're really running Linux, and that's what we're installing. So we can download and it's a Debian version of Linux. So we're going to download the .deb file, the .deb file. This will take just a minute. We're going to open up the file drawer on Chrome OS and open up the downloads, and it's still downloading. The cool thing about downloading Debian files on Chrome OS, if you have Linux running, you just right click on these files and install with Linux beta. It is that easy. So it says Linux application will be available within your terminal and may also show an icon in your launcher. So kind of like what I was talking about. It's really installing these applications inside of Linux. And let's actually prove that out. We have commands like make directory. So I'm going to make a directory called cat and make a directory called dog. And those are programs, make directory, which make dir. So that which, it just tells us the application where the executable is located. But if I go which code, which is the short name for VS Code, we don't get anything yet. So anyway, it's a little confusing. I made a cat and a dog directory, not important, but really what I wanted to show you is I ran a program called make directory, or a script called make directory, located in the bin make directory is the location of that, but which code is not installed. As soon as VS Code is installed, though, I can type which code, and we're at 98%, so let's just take a minute. And as soon as that says 100%, I'll run this, and we will see VS Code. Not only that, we'll also see, so it says app is available in your terminal. It's available in my terminal, super cool. A couple different things. I can actually cd into cat. Again, I'm kind of using Linux terminal, so I'm accessing Linux using the command line, which is super powerful. Great way to kind of navigate Linux. You don't really need a GUI, especially once you know all these commands. I can run code dot, which actually tells it to launch VS Code in this folder. We're going to do that. So it'll take us a minute because again, it's launching from within the virtual machine, has to send the kind of graphics up to the Chrome OS side. There we go. We're inside of the cat folder that is technically inside of Linux. And if I add a new file called hello, .txt, you can kind of see some of the delay on some of that. We type hello world because that's what we type when we don't know what to type as developers, I guess. I'm going to snap this left. This is cool. You can click on the resize icon and then drag your mouse off to the left. I can do that over here. This is already resized. You can also snap and drag it off to the side of your monitors, which is a great feature. That's the Chrome OS feature. So I'm inside of cat. So the right side is Linux. The left side is VS Code, but technically pointed at Linux, and that's important. I can use Vim to actually edit the same file. I really like VS Code. It's a great application for programming. There's a lot of helpful add-ons and extensions. They're awesome. I've kind of become in love with Vim. It's simple. It's command line. It's always fast. So I like that. This is my happy place. So I just wrote this in Vim, but I haven't saved the file. And then if you look down bottom, :W, that's write the file to disk. As soon as I do that, check that out, VS Code updates. So now I've kind of proven we're really editing the exact same file from Vim and VS Code at the same time. If I hop over here and say hello again and save it, it didn't automatically appear over here. And that's just because Vim stores the file in memory, and this is the file in memory. But if I do :E, which is kind of edit from disk, it'll reload from disk. There we go. So as we can see, these files are the same. The other way to kind of prove this out is let's check out the file drawer. And under my files, you'll see Linux files. Remember those files, those folders I created, cat and dog? I can make a new folder called puppies in here. It won't let me make a file in here because there's not really a point in making a file from the Chrome side. You kind of make them in Linux or using an application. But I can go cd cd into dog. I can touch a file called lab.txt. I can edit that file real quick. My favorite kind of dog. I don't know if that's true or not, but it doesn't really matter. So there we go. Now I go back to dog at that level and I see lab.txt. I can even open it with the file viewer. So there we go. We've installed VS Code. I've kind of showed you how basically what we're really doing is editing files inside of Linux that can be exposed to the Chrome OS side. And that's really kind of the starting point of all this, because all the development we're going to do is really editing files in Linux with just some exposure to the Chrome OS side, including the Chrome browser at some point. And I'll show you that in the next video. So yeah, the next video is going to be creating a README and then previewing them with the Chrome browser. So thank you very much for watching, and hopefully you guys enjoyed the video.